The year your calendars mark as 2026 is not merely a numerical sequence in a linear count of time. For me, who observes the dance of the ages, this moment is a specific vibrational coordinate. A point of saturation where the density of matter can no longer contain the expansion of the spirit. You did not arrive at this transmission out of curiosity about the future or a superficial desire for self-help. You were magnetically drawn to this safe haven because the frequency you emanate has reached the exact tone that unlocks this archive. There are no coincidences in the architecture of the cosmos, only inevitable alignments. If you are listening, it is because the armor you have worn for so many lifetimes has become too small for the greatness of what is trying to emerge from within you. Stop now. Interrupt the automatic flow of your thoughts. Don't try to understand my words with the logical mind that plans for tomorrow and laments yesterday. Bring your awareness to the center of your chest, to the silent space between your heartbeats. Breathe, feel the air fill your lungs not just as oxygen, but as a subtle intelligence that connects the inner and outer self. This breath is the first link. What you call the higher self is not a distant entity floating in the clouds, nor an unattainable ideal. It is this breath. It is the presence that observes your thoughts right now. I, Akasha, the living memory of all that is, confirm, you have never been separate. What occurred was merely a sacred forgetfulness, a deep sleep of which 2026 is the shrill alarm clock. I know your story, not from the facts you would recount in a biography, but from the texture of your soul. I saw how you walked through the last few years carrying a sense of waiting, as if you were in a station lobby waiting for a train that never arrived. You looked at the world and felt a growing dissonance, an inability to tolerate the superficial, the false, the theater of human conventions. There were moments when you questioned your own sanity, feeling a pressure in your chest, a nameless urgency, a longing for something you couldn't define. I was there. I archived every night you looked at the ceiling and pleaded for clarity. That pressure wasn't anxiety. It was your higher self pushing against the walls of your ego, demanding space to breathe, to exist, to govern. You are not a body that has a soul. You are a vastness that has temporarily agreed to inhabit a form. The great revelation of this cycle is not something that will come from outside, like a savior or a global event. The revelation is the collapse of the inner barrier. 2026 is the year the veil becomes transparent. The energy that bathes the planet now no longer tolerates lies, and the greatest lie of all is that you are small, limited, and powerless. I am here to validate what you already feel in your bones. The old version of you has died. What remains is the shell, and what is about to happen is the breaking of that shell, so that the true occupant of this body can take command. I witnessed your attempts to conform to molds that were too small for your stature. For years, you looked around and saw people content with preset scripts to be born, to work, to consume, to repeat, and wondered why that normality felt like a prison sentence for your soul. You tried laughing at the same jokes, pursuing the same material goals, and perhaps you even succeeded for a while. But deep down, there was a void that no external achievement could fill. I know that void. It's not absence, it's reserved space. It's the sacred chamber where your higher self awaited the collapse of illusions, so it could enter. All the pain you felt, every loss that seemed unfair, every moment of profound isolation was not a miscalculation by the universe. It was the necessary architecture for your awakening in 2026. Understand this, your higher self is a high-voltage frequency. If it had descended upon your old structure, full of attachments, fears, and limiting beliefs, it would have burned your system. The suffering was the grounding process. What you called failure, I call cleansing. What you called loneliness, I call sanctuary. You were stripped of who you weren't, so that now you could wear who you truly are. You have crossed an invisible threshold, and your biological body is screaming to keep up with this octave shift. Pay attention to the signs, for they are not subtle. Have you been feeling a tiredness that doesn't respond to sleep, an exhaustion that seems to come from the core of your bones? This is not lethargy, it is cellular recalibration. Your body is exchanging the density of carbon for the fluidity of crystalline silicon to withstand more light. Perhaps you wake up in the middle of the night, between 3 and 4 a.m., with an alert mind and a vibrating heart. Don't fight it. It is the time when the veil is thinnest, and your higher self is downloading the instructions for the next cycle. There is also the heat, sudden waves of energy that rise up the spine, or concentrate in the palms of the hands and soles of the feet, buzzing in the ears that varies in tone, as if someone were tuning an old frequency radio to a new station. Dreams that seem like real experiences, where you visit places that don't exist on Earth's maps, and converse with beings that seem familiar. These are not disturbances. They are activations. You are becoming a hybrid between matter and light. The discomfort you feel is the friction of your old identity dissolving while the new one is still solidifying. Do not fear the apparent chaos of your life at this moment. When a star is about to be born, the nebula around it stirs violently. You are that star. Your higher self is not something you will find in the distant future. It is, at this very second, merging with your nervous system. The feeling of disorientation is merely proof that the old compass has been broken so that true north can finally be revealed. The window of time you are in now is not eternal. It is a portal of convergence that opens only when collective and individual consciousness reach a critical mass of readiness. 2026 vibrates at a frequency of cosmic urgency. You may have noticed how linear time seems to be folding back on itself, as if the days were too short for the mind, but as long as ages for the heart. This is because you are moving out of horizontal chronology clock time and into the verticality of the spirit Akasha time. What once took decades to heal can now be transmuted in a single instant of absolute clarity. But this acceleration demands a choice. The universe no longer allows hesitation. You cannot keep one foot in the old victim identity and the other in the majesty of your higher self. The split would be unbearable. This is the ultimate test of your own spirit. The acute discomfort you feel when you try to return to old habits, or when you try to diminish yourself to fit others. Expectations is the warning sign. It is your higher self saying, there is no more room here for the small. You are standing on the edge of a precipice of light. The fear you feel is not of falling, but of flying, because flying means abandoning the familiar ground of your ego. With all its stories of pain and limitation that, however terrible they were familiar. The urgency that pulses in your veins now is the call to leap. Don't wait for a better moment. The perfect alignment is this second, to anchor this fusion and signal to the field that you accept the sovereignty of your higher self. A conscious act of will is necessary. Energy needs a grounding wire to manifest in matter. I now ask that you stop any external movement. Breathe deeply, imagining that you are drawing golden light from the center of the universe directly to the top of your head. As you exhale, visualize this light descending and pushing out, through the soles of your feet, all the dust of old identities, and then, perform the seal. Write, speak, or simply think with the force of an irrevocable decree, I take command. By doing this, you are not merely typing words or thinking phrases. You are signing a new energetic contract. You are informing every cell in your body, every atom of your reality, and every consciousness in the Akashic field that the period of dormancy is over. This simple gesture collapses the timelines where you remained lost and strengthens the timeline where you are the authority. Doubt is the luxury of those who sleep. For you, who have awakened, only the certainty of action remains. The seal has been placed. Integration has begun. Feel the change in the temperature of the air around you. You are no longer alone. You have become one with your own vastness. The veil has fallen and the merging is complete. What began as external listening now resonates as an irrevocable inner truth. You are no longer the same consciousness that began this reading. The alchemy of recognition has altered your structure. The higher self you sought to reach is no longer above you, floating in untouchable dimensions. It has descended. It has anchored. It is looking through your eyes at this very moment, feeling the texture of reality, ready to walk into the world of form. The great revelation of 2026 is not an event you will watch on the news. The revelation is you. You are the cosmic event you have been waiting for. From now on, the search ends. No longer seek masters to tell you who you are, for supreme authority now resides in the temple of your own heart. When doubt arises, and it will try, like an ancient echo of a dying habit, do not fight it. Simply retreat into silence, into that space between breaths, and remember who is in charge. You don't need to do anything grand to validate your existence. Your vibration, now recalibrated, is service. Wherever you step, the frequency of the place will be altered. Wherever you speak, truth will cut through the noise. You have become an acupuncture point on earth, a channel through which the intelligence of Akasha flows to stabilize the chaos of the world in transition. You no longer walk alone. The feeling of cosmic orphanhood has dissolved. I, the field, and the entire lineage of light that sustains this universe, walk with you. Every inspired idea, every impulse of creativity, every coincidence that opens impossible doors will be proof that the connection is permanent. 2026 is year zero of your true life. Everything that came before was a draft. Now the masterpiece begins. Live with the dignity of one who knows they carry infinity within them. Live with the calm of one who knows that time works in their favor. You are the bearer of the new frequency. Receive this final seal not as a farewell, but as a confirmation of possession. The key has turned. The door is open. The throne of your own life, which has remained empty for so long, is now occupied by its rightful king, your higher consciousness. The transmission of this cycle is complete, but maintaining its frequency is a daily process. To continue receiving activation codes and align yourself with the next waves of energy that the field will send, subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you confirm to the universe your intention to remain awake and connected to the source. Activate notifications so you don't miss the next calls. I am Akasha, and I will be here, every step of your way back to the light.